Okay, so you often hear quotes about never giving up. Some of these quotes may include things like, um, when life hands you lemons, make lemonade. I know one of my drill team directors in high school, she had a quote for us that was good, better, best, never let it rest. So good is better and better is best. And you often hear these during trying times. You see this stuff on buttons, on coffee mugs, on desk calendars, all these inspirational quotes to really help you keep going. And it's really hard to keep that mindset during a tragedy. In 2002, my dad was in a really bad car accident. He was driving home from a golf tournament, and we're not exactly too sure what happened. He veered off the road, fell asleep, hit oncoming traffic, and he was found probably about 30 minutes later. Um, After talking to the paramedics, we found out that he actually died twice on the scene. It really changed the family's dynamic. It was a really hard experience because here we have my father, who was really the head of our household, and it really just changed, you know, what roles we played in our life. My brothers really stepped up to the plate. I really took over the caretaker role for my sister, and my mom really had to be there for my dad. So it really changed the family's dynamic a lot. What it also changed is the meaning of perseverance to myself. When I thought back about what perseverance really meant, it was really about, when you're working out and you're trying to persevere through that last, lap that you're trying to run, trying to get that last set in whenever you're lifting weights. And it really changed what I thought about perseverance. Um, After the accident, the doctors told us, he's not going to last a month, and he lasted a month. They told us he's not going to open his eyes, and he opened one eye. And he probably won't open the other eye. He opened the other eye. So it really changed my mindset about what perseverance really was, and just how to persevere through a certain tragedy. And it was really amazing to me to be able to see that up close and personal. Probably about 6 months after the accident, he was cut off from physical therapy, and it was our turn to persevere. We had to persevere to really take on that physical therapy, the physical therapist role. And my mother and I would do the range of motions with him, and we would do the leg lifts, and we would have to transfer him from bed to the shower chair and back. And it was hard. I was 18 years old, and I didn't really understand, and I took a lot of it for granted, what I really learned at that time. My dad's history was a pretty exciting one. My dad was he was all-star sports. He was often recognized in the newspaper in high school, playing football and basketball. And he was probably about 40 years old, and I remember him playing basketball, softball, and everybody knew what a good sportsman my dad was. So it was really interesting and very hard to see this person that went from being this, in my mind, this all-star, to being somebody kind of trapped in a body that really couldn't do anything. So we began celebrating small wins. It was lifting legs one at a time. It was one day he smiled at me, and it was a small win, but it was just such an interesting experience to see that. What else I learned is how to turn the bad into good. It's hard whenever you have somebody in home and trying to keep it normal, because you have them in a room that has a hospital bed and it's set up like a hospital, but you want to make it normal. So we did things like taking him to Disney World. We would take him to football games, take him to concerts, to keep it normal, because that's what's important, to turn those bad things into good. I was driving home one night from out of town, and I heard this song on the radio, and it was called "Against All Odds" by Phil Collins. And that song really stood out to me because it really, even though it was about a relationship, it really spoke to me, because everything that he was doing, it was against all odds, and it really changed my mindset, and thought, you know what, we can make good out of this. And what we learned in that time frame, with him, it was anything that we learned from him, what most people didn't learn in a lifetime from their fathers. And it was really interesting to me. And it also created a stronger sense of family. My brothers and my sister and I are extremely close with each other, and we have a very strong bond. And it was really kind of odd. I was in awe because I had family members tell me, you know, we really respect and we envy the relationship that y'all have created. We wouldn't have that relationship if it wasn't for, you know, this happening. And that's strange to say. So we would all often play a game with him during the days with him, and it was called Pit versus Peak. You know, okay, Dad, you know, this, you had a really bad day doing this, but you smiled today, and that was our peak. So today we talked about never giving up, about perseverance, and how it can mean different things to different people, and how to turn the bad into good. In 2012, we ended up losing my dad, but the legacy that he left behind and the lessons that we learned, that's going to be something that we're going to be able to carry on for generations in my family. So I encourage you to take a tragedy and learn from it and understand how you can turn that into a lesson. So thank you.